Hi, everybody. I'm Coach Tiffany. I help people heal their relationship with food and their body and finally feel at peace and ease with food in their body. All right. And so if you're looking for support, I can support you. Today, we're going to talk about valid reasons to eat. There are a couple of terms that get thrown around in the eating disorder recovery world and also in, kind of health and wellness. And I want to talk about these. I'm not sure if you've heard of them before or not, but one is called normative eating. And so that's the idea that we're not, binging, we're not having a lot of restriction, we're just eating kind of a normal amount. And I get the reason that that term is used because it's rather than assigning a certain amount that this is like the correct amount, it's just like, we're able to eat with ease and just kind of eat normally. But I think that um, erases a lot of the valid reasons to eat. And I think the average kind of normal eating pattern isn't necessarily the most supportive, right? So people are part of the clean plate club, so they eat everything on their plate, right? That's very normative in our culture, but not necessarily supportive to the person who's just cleaning the plate and not eating in a way that's attuned. So my preference is a term called resonant eating. And so resonant eating is eating in a way that resonates for you. This is really helpful to shift our thinking in this way because we're so mired in diet culture. So, diet culture is the idea that thin is the ideal, that you are only healthy and beautiful if you're thin, right? And that we should all be kind of striving to be thin and meet this ideal beauty standard all the time. So, this diet culture has actually racist roots. It's rooted in white supremacy. It's also oppressive to all of us. And so the idea that our value and our worth is tied at all to our size, and the idea that you need to be thin to be healthy is harmful to everyone. All right, so we're all steeped in that. We're all just like living in this oppressive system. So it's hard sometimes to see things from a different perspective. All right, so we're gonna try to kick diet culture to the curb here and think about resonant eating for a little while. So what are valid reasons to eat? Well, what I don't think is valid is expecting yourself to use food as fuel all the time. We are not machines. And we live in a culture where food is very significant. And there's a lot of aspects to our relationship with food that are dishonored by the idea that it should only be fuel. Okay, so instead, we're going to look holistically at valid reasons to eat. So, number one, you're hungry. Number two, you are, and I wouldn't even say that that's exactly number one, but surprisingly, people often, especially if they've been in diet culture for a long, long time, kind of participating in restrictive eating, don't necessarily feed themselves when they're hungry. So, if you're hungry, give yourself 100% permission to eat. Eat food when you're hungry. That is a way of resonant eating. Okay. Number two, I would say is eating for joy. Partaking in cultural traditions, receiving in food from someone else. So you go to someone's house and you're not necessarily very hungry, but they just made fresh baked banana bread and the house smells amazing and they want to feed you and care for you, right? That's a very valid, resonant way of eating. Another one is actually soothing using food. So people in the diet culture world, we get the messaging that it's bad to use food to soothe, to comfort, eat, right? But actually, we are nervous systems, right? Our bodies are made up of a nervous system, and our nervous system is soothed by food. So, when a baby cries, we hold it and feed it, right? You learn to be soothed by food. And so food does help us to regulate our nervous system. Perfectly valid reason to eat and can be resonant eating. Now, the problem is when we're doing that all the time, when we don't have other ways that we're soothing, when we're not addressing that our nervous systems aren't very regulated and learning how to regulate them, then it starts to not feel very aligned or resonant to be using food to soothe all the time, right? So what we want to do is really move toward using food to soothe um, our nervous systems, to help us regulate our nervous systems, but building other tools and other options so that most often or more of the time we're able to attend to our nervous systems in other ways that really help us to heal and grow and work through the challenges that we're experiencing, but with food as an option. All right. And so there's lots of valid reasons to eat, and lots of ways we can eat in a way that feels resonant for us. So the litmus test that I like to use is, does this feel nurturing? So food is meant to be nourishing for sure, but also nurturing. So are we feeling well nourished? Do you have vitality? Do you have energy? Do you get a variety of food? Do you feed yourself regularly and well? And then also, do you feel nurtured in your relationship with food? Are you eating foods that bring you joy and satisfaction? Are you eating consistently enough that you feel really cared for? Are you able to receive food from other people? Are you eating joyfully? Are you satisfied with your food? And can you use food to soothe sometimes and not beat yourself up about that? Just recognize that's actually very normative eating as well, right? It's very normative in our culture, and it is absolutely soothing. So it's valid. But the key is not beating ourselves up, and also having other ways that we nurture ourselves as well. All right, so ask yourself, does this feel nurturing? And so a lot of times it has to do with the trends of how often we're eating in those ways. Are you using food to soothe every single day? Then that's going to start to not really feel very nurturing and not feel very aligned, because it's not eating in a way that's attuned to our body. So that's another key. So is this nurturing? Do I feel well nourished? Is this a nurturing interaction with food, or a nurturing way of using food consistently? And then also, am I eating in a way that's attuned to my body? Now, again, when we're mired in diet culture, we might be thinking, oh, I'm only eating when I'm attuned to my body if I'm eating, vegetables, right? Or if I'm eating the perfectly balanced meal and I eat the perfect amount, right? But that's actually not attuned eating, because that is hyper focused. That is, looking at it from the outside rather than checking in with your body. How does this actually feel in my body? So, body attuned eating might mean one day you had planned to have salad for dinner, but actually you really want something warm and savory in a bowl. So maybe you have curry instead. Or, maybe you don't like eggs, but you've been making yourself eat eggs every morning because somebody said you should eat protein, right? And so, eating attuned in an attuned way can also be, does this actually taste good to me? Does this bring me joy? Am I enjoying this? So really connecting with your body and being curious and open-minded so that you can um, consider all of those aspects, all of the aspects of who you are, and all of those aspects in your relationship with food. All right. Do I feel well nourished? Is this nurturing? And am I eating in a way, in general, am I eating in a way that's attuned to my body? All right. I hope this really helps. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me, Tiffany at CoachTiffanyRN.com. You can also take my online quiz, which is on my website, CoachTiffanyRN.com/quiz, and that will tell you your food attachment style and help you to know which direction to go in healing your relationship with food in your body. Thank you so much. Have a great day.